So how would we defend this second premise, that abortion intentionally kills an innocent human being? Well, from the science of embryology, which is the study of the unborn, we recognize that from the moment of conception, the unborn is a distinct, living, and whole human being. Moore and Prasad, in their seminal work, The Developing Human, they said this, that human development begins at fertilization when a sperm fuses with an oocyte to form a single cell, the zygote. This highly specialized totipotent cell marks the beginning of each of us as a unique human being. So let's break down the sentence here. From the moment of conception, the unborn is a distinct, living, and whole human being. Each of those words is intentional and important. The unborn is distinct, and we recognize this in a couple different ways. It's distinct in its DNA. It's distinct from the body of the mother, right? As the unborn continues to develop, it develops and has 2 arms and 2 legs. It has 2 ears and 1 nose, right? There are separate body parts from that of the mother. Even though it is connected to the mother, it is distinct from it. We recognize this again in the DNA code, the types of blood, or the possibility for a different type of blood, something that doesn't occur within a single human being. The potential for different biological sex. A woman can be pregnant with a male or a female and is not genetically both of those things. And so when we see that even the single-celled zygote, we see that male or female genetic material, and we recognize that that is one of the ways then that we would recognize that the unborn is distinct from the mother. So from the moment of conception, the unborn is distinct. It is separate from or recognizable in differentiation from the mother. Secondly, moving on to living, we recognize that something is living classically looking at metabolism and reproduction. So metabolism, the using of energy to continue life or to continue growth and development. That is one of the markers that we significantly attribute to things that are living. And secondly, reproduction, right? Reproduction here, I'm not talking about procreative reproduction. I'm talking about the reproduction among and between the cells, right? As that zygote begins to develop, it reproduces itself. It splits and divides into 2 cells and then 4 and so on. And if left undisturbed, will continue to develop and reproduce into what we would then recognize as a child. And so the living aspect is fairly straightforward. Thirdly, the unborn is whole. While immature, the unborn is complete. Richard Stith, who holds a number of degrees from Harvard, Berkeley, and Yale, observed that many individuals think that the development of the unborn is similar to the construction of a car, where parts are added onto it. And at one point you don't have a car, you maybe just have the chassis, or maybe you just have the drivetrain. But at some point you get enough pieces there that you can rightly recognize it. Oh, this is a Corvette, this is a Mustang, right? This is a vehicle of some discernible make and model. However, this is not the case with the unborn, where the unborn develops via internally directed processes, not by an outside actor. So with the unborn, all of the growth, all of that development happens by internal direction. There's not someone who's adding pieces onto the unborn. So even though the unborn looks very different from us, certainly in those early stages, less so in those later stages of development and pregnancy, but it certainly at that early stage, it doesn't look like a human being that we're familiar with. But the unborn is no less whole in that it has everything necessary for proper growth if given a safe environment, adequate nutrition, and enough time. Something that all of us sitting here right now require in order to continue growing and developing ourselves. So when we're looking at the science of embryology, it's quite clear, given the science that we have available to us, that from the moment of conception, the unborn is a distinct, living, and whole human being. But this is not merely a pro-life claim. Many ardent advocates of abortion also argue for the unborn, or argue that the unborn are human. Dr. Willie Parker, an abortionist who himself performed over 10,000 abortions by his own estimation, said this in a debate with the late Mike Adams. He said that abortion kills a human being. It is the intentional disruption of a pregnancy that kills a human being. Unfortunately, he seemed not to be bothered by that reality.
We at Ratio Christi are so excited for the opportunity to provide you with our newest initiative, or monthly webinars. These 1-hour sessions will help to equip you with historical, scientific, and philosophical reasons to believe Christianity is true. Now, most months you'll hear from different Ratio Christi staff from across the country, and you'll get to hear their stories of how they are changing student lives for Jesus Christ.